Not all skill jumps in CS2 are created equal. From easy to difficult and useful to useless, we're going to rank every single skill jump in CS2 that, according to my judgment, could have some sort of use in a real competitive game. Trying to collect every possible skill jump that could be of use in a game has been difficult, so if you feel like I'm missing something, please comment it. Also, I'm using the term skill jump very loosely, so please don't hate me if there's something here that you wouldn't consider a skill jump. Okay, let's go. This jump from red to shelf on mid is difficult and took me way too long, and not super useful since the T's can reach mid in time to catch you while you're still in the air. Honestly, the best use of this jump would probably be for rotating, so I'm gonna give this a D. By the way, this is the rating scale I'm gonna be using. Being able to self-boost efficiently on A side is pretty easy and very useful if you're an ancient enjoyer. A for ass jump. From your browser, you can jump strafe over to the sponsor of this video, SkinsMonkey. SkinsMonkey is a trusted automated CS2 trading site. It's super easy to use. All you have to do is pick something in your inventory, check how much it's worth, and then go get something new from the monkey. What's also super nice is the filters you can use to narrow down your searches. You can either use your skins to trade for new ones or deposit money with their 30% bonus offer. This becomes 35% when you use my code Wilson. Please use it. Using my code, you can also get up to $5 for free. If you use my code Wilson, link is in the description. Now, I thought I was going crazy because I couldn't think of a single skill jump on Anubis, so I asked my Discord for help, which you should join, and Nevit came to the rescue. From mid, you can pretty easily make this jump to the top of these baskets here. It's actually pretty useful since if there's someone E-box, you're harder to hit, and you land somewhere with cover. B for Anubis. Now let's talk about the hellscape that is Mirage. To get this out of the way, Palace to Tetris and Tetris to Palace. If this jump wasn't so damn hard, people would be jumping from Tetris to Palace all the time. But because it is so tricky, I'm giving it an F. Learning how to get into Palace as fast as possible as a CT is something pretty much everyone should know. It's pretty easy and very useful. S tier. Leaping from window to cat is a cool aggro play and is also very useful for rotating. It's somewhat tricky, but definitely worth learning. A tier. Instead of jumping to cat, you can also jump from window to the stone bricks and then into ladder room. This is cool, but far less useful than window to cat. C. Is it just me, or is this jump like super inconsistent now? I don't know what's up with this. Am I just bad? Maybe. If it's consistent, it's an A, like how it was in CSGO, but if I'm right and it's not consistent, I'd give it a C. Hey, here's something cool. Mid boxes to this pillar on mid. In my 3,400 hours of Counter-Strike, much of which has unfortunately been on Mirage, I've never seen someone do this in a real game. I'll give this an F. On the other side of the usefulness spectrum, jumping from bench to window is incredibly useful and also very easy. Something a lot of people don't know is that you can even make this jump with your gun out from the bottom part of the bench. Very cool. S tier for its combination of ease and usefulness. The van jump is actually even easier to do in CS2 than it was in CSGO. It's too bad I never learned how to do this in CSGO, as I hate B-Site Mirage, because this still took me fucking forever. If you play Beyond Mirage, I would take the time to learn this. It's very cool and it's very fast. I'll give it a B. From Balk, you can jump around the right side of apps to land within the window, which is cool but pretty niche. D tier. For our last skill jump on Mirage, let's talk about the silent jump from Tetris to stairs. This has pretty niche uses, but is pretty easy to get used to. C tier. Getting to silo quickly can be very useful, but taking the technically quickest path is much more difficult than taking the second quickest path in my opinion, especially because of how janky jumping over this thing is. Fastest silo path I'd give a C, second quickest I'd give an A. On the CT side, jumping onto this orange box here gives you some pretty cool angles outside and is very easy to do. I'll give this a B. An alternative way to drop down from silo quickly and without taking fall damage, you can surf on this metal thing outside of mini. Very swaggy, somewhat difficult to do consistently, and requires some big balls. D. From red, you can jump to T-boxes outside. It only took me about 30 tries to do this for the first time. Not very useful and very difficult. F. Top hut to the A-site silo is also a very difficult jump to land and also pretty niche. D tier. From outside, you can quickly get to the top of garage from blue box. It's a very risky play and doesn't give you a good opportunity to multi-frag, but because it's so easy, I'll give it a C. From long, you can very easily jump onto the long wall from this bench. Useful and easy. S tier. A new jump to CS2, this block on short now allows you to get on top of sandbags without needing a boost from a teammate. You can even do this with your gun out, it's just more difficult. A tier. As a very wacky play, jumping onto the shelf in con gives you some pretty neat off angles. However, you are fully exposed to mid and party once you're here. You can do this by jumping from the top platform in con or by jumping off the stairs. The stairs is significantly harder, but your landing sound is somewhat quieter. For combined rating, I'll give it a C. Surfing on these walls outside of B and within short is cool, swaggy, but not very useful. As a CT swinging short, you should probably be ready for a fight instead of surfing. And as a T going towards short, this saves you a bit of time, I guess, but also risks slowing you down if you mess it up or bonk your head. I'll give it a combined D rating. This jump in connector is very difficult and not super practical. I just gave up on it, to be honest. You have to jump across con, so anybody holding con could obviously see you. And if you have it smoked, your opponent will hear you making this jump anyways. I'll give it a D. Jumping from T-con into con without taking damage is pretty cool, pretty easy, and prevents awkward traffic jams if you have multiple people going into con. A tier. Getting into this little cubby from the con ladder can be done pretty consistently, but it's just not super useful. The best use of this is just to save, so I'm gonna give it a D. We love Vertigo, don't we? Leaping around the right side of B is somewhat useful in retakes, but is a super risky play. However, it is pretty easy, so I'm gonna put it in B tier. This jump from headshot to goblin is interesting and easy, but so incredibly niche I don't know when you would use this. D tier. Playing on top of porch is a great risk-reward play, and jumping to porch from balk is difficult but worth learning if you play Inferno. B tier. Jumping from car to half wall is very easy and is pretty safe if you have bottom banana smoked. You can also B-hop off of car to get onto half wall, but this is much more difficult. Regardless, this is an S tier. We would see this jump from second orange to new box much more if it wasn't so difficult. You can also have a teammate boost you onto new box anyways, so D tier. From default on B site, you can jump to the top of coffins, which is a cool, aggressive peak. B tier. Lastly, from balk, you can jump onto that subscribe button. S tier.